It's way past my bedtime, but let's get into this. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about the second book in the Dark Artifices series, Lord of Shadows. Yes, I finished this one much quicker than I finished Lady Midnight for two reasons. One, because I have finally gotten a grip on all of my assignments, so I'm getting into the pace of the semester. And two, because this one kind of it was more interesting than Lady Midnight. I'm not gonna lie, I liked it better than I did Lady Midnight. It's a thing with Cassandra Clare books that I've noticed, the two series that I've read, Mortal Instruments and Infernal Devices, where the first one is kind of like a slow. It starts off really slow because it's like doing world and character building. There's not much world building that really needs to happen because we're familiar with the Shadowhunters world and everything and how that works, especially if you read the previous ones. But for the people who are just reading the series, she does a bit of build up. And that's fine. And she's like introducing us to all of the characters, the Blackthorns, Emma, some old characters, new characters, Christina, etc. So this review is not going to be spoiler free. If you're watching this, you've probably already read the book, so we could have a discussion because I just finished reading this book 20 minutes ago. I came in from work. I was like, okay, I'm going to get my assignments done. I'm going to start cooking. I'm going to finish this book while I'm cooking. And then hopefully by the time the book is done, the food is done. So I'll eat. That's exactly what happened. And now here I am recording. So I am fresh on the emotions of everything that happened at the end of this book. And if you've read it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So let's get into it. Quick kind of plot-ish. It follows along after the end of Lady Midnight, where Kit is getting acquainted with the Institute, and we get the dynamic between Kit, Livy, and Ty. Emma and Julian are kind of at odds because this is also coming off the heels of Emma and Mark starting their little fake relationship. Child, Diego's still there, and the Centurions come in, and right off the bat, Miss Zara. Pissing me off. But yeah, the Centurions come in. Diego's super excited to introduce Christina to the Centurions. Then we find out that this man has a whole fiance. Ugh. And then we also find out that Jace and Clary are going undercover in Fairy to do some investigation. Clary tells Emma on the roof that she's been having dreams, that she thinks that she's gonna die. And Gwen comes through, tells Mark that Kieran is going to be executed in Fairy because he murked Yarlth. And that all happens. So they go to Fairy, have their adventures in there. Kieran meets his aunt, not Kieran, Mark meets their aunt, Nini, all of that. Everything happens. They go to Fairy, come back, fight. Malcolm was still alive apparently while they were still in Fairy. They had that fight. Zara, I'm really not good at plot synopsises because I have like really bad memory retention for things that aren't like directly pressing, like work and school. So we continue on. The plot's gonna come through while I'm talking about the characters, so we're just gonna continue on with this. All right. Okay, let us go to my handy dandy notes. I didn't really take that much notes at this point because I feel like I have a good understanding of how I feel about each character by now, but we're gonna go through it, we're gonna go through it because there were so many fighting words that were happening in this book, yet no hands were thrown. I'm very confused. I don't understand because I would have had to throw some hands with Zara. I'd have to throw some hands with her, and then towards the end of the book, her daddy could catch these hands as well. Cause no, sorry, cannot stand them. But anyways, let's go through. Let's start with Emma. Emma, out of her and Julian and their dynamic in this book, I must say that Emma moved a little bit less recklessly in this book while still somewhat entertaining me. I'm not gonna lie though, I skimmed a lot of her and Julian sections because if I'm being very honest with you, I could care less about their storyline. And I'm gonna tell you why. So, throughout this book, there are so many mentions of Emma being scared of Julian. And it kills every sense of romance that I could fathom from these two characters. For the life of me, I cannot understand how I'm supposed to sit and read this book and see so many times where Emma is thinking back to that time when they were all coming back from the convergence site and Julian just like sat there, lied smoothly to the Inquisitor, and Emma is just like, Julian, you scared me a little. And she just keeps jumping back to that. It's not like a one-time occurrence. She keeps jumping back to the fact that, hey, you scare me with some of the stuff that you're doing. Emma, the main female love interest in this book, is constantly saying that the main male love interest in this book scares her. It's constantly brought up that Julian is really good at manipulation, very good at lying, clearly has no empathy for anyone who isn't related to him or who isn't Emma. Like, it just seems like he tolerates everybody else if they're people that his family cares about. And normal human beings don't behave like that. That is weird. The man is a psychopath, and I do not understand why people expect that I'm supposed to just sit here and root for him and Emma to be together, because I don't have anything against Emma. I really don't. Please don't think that I have anything against the gender-bent Jace Herondale. Please don't think that at all. But I couldn't read the book without being concerned about her safety. Like, yes, I know that he's gonna protect her and everything, but like, I can't ship them. I'm so sorry.
No ma'am. No ma'am. No ma'am. No ma'am.
The man creeps me the hell out. If I started a drinking game and took a shot every time Emma said that Julian scared her, it was just so obvious. The only time in this book where I felt any form of like sympathy towards Julian was closer to the end when Annabelle gave him the letter that Ty wrote to her to get her to come to the Institute. And Ty's feelings, like how he expressed himself and expressed how Julian made them feel safe as siblings and all of that. I felt a little bad for him. I felt a little bit of sympathy. But my God, directly after that, the man choked back his tears, and not 2.5 seconds later, he begins to manipulate Annabelle into going and cleaning up oh my gosh, I cannot. I'm so sorry. I can't do it. The amount of times people are just like, oh, he has such a ruthless heart. The amount of times he's like, we get it from his perspective and he's like, yep, I know that I'm doing this and I know that I'm hurting other people, but if it's for the people that I love, I'm okay with it. I am not the type of person who would do things that I know would benefit me if I knew that it would hurt somebody else. Like, main example, when him and Emma were in the cottage that Malcolm had on the cliff, and they were talking about, like, they were finally telling each other the truth, because my God. And Emma told him about the curse, and he told her about the conversation that he had with the Sealy Queen and how she could find a way to break the Parvati bond. However, the caveat is that it would break the bond for all Parvati, not just them. And he was considering it. Emma's like, oh my gosh, like, I would never want to do that. That's not something I would ever consider. Imagine what it would do to not only the Parvati we know, like Jace and Alec, or Clary and Simon, But what it would do to Parvati, we don't even know. Like, that's such a bond that's ingrained in people. And I'm like, yes, Emma, I 100% agree. And Julian's just like, yeah, well. I'm like, this is y'all king.
We are going to pretend we didn't hear that.
Reading scenes between them was not, it didn't give me that little butterfly feeling that romances would give me, like when I'm reading scenes with people that I ship. It just makes me so concerned because he gives me the heebie-jeebies. He can't. But I think that kind of encompasses how I feel about Emma and Julian both as characters. Emma, I'm alright with. I just need her to run. Like, blink twice if you need help, sis. Christina, still love Christina throughout this. Closer to the end, I was a little bit confused because I don't know what's going on between Christina, Kieran, and Mark. And I don't know if that's just me not understanding what is happening. But they're all giving off very throuple. Like, I don't know if this is supposed to be a love triangle or if, like, it might just be that I've never seen a love triangle where the bottom ends of the triangle, being Christina and Kieran, are friends. Because there's not much animosity going on between them. There's like some slight tension. But I don't know, like, are they platonic? They seem very platonic. Like, they haven't done anything that's like a canon, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I wouldn't mind all of them being together because I have very much grown to like Kieran. I've grown to like Kieran throughout the book, you know? Didn't really like him at the end of Lady Midnight. Very much growing to like him now. He's a little effed, isn't he? He's a little sitting duck, if I do say so myself, because his daddy is not very pleased with him. Like, and then he went and murked his brother to save Christina. Oh my goodness. Like, it was a lot. There was a lot going on with Kieran, but like, I feel like he's in a very, very interesting place right now because like, he's not very accepted with the Shadowhunters, but like, he's definitely not going to be accepted in the court. And I definitely gained most of my sympathy for him because of the manipulation that happened with him. Like, they knew that he lost his memory, but just so that he could like testify, they led him to believe that him and Mark were still together. Didn't like that. Was not a huge fan. Felt bad for him that entire time. Took it like a champ though when his daddy returned his memories. But yeah, Christina, I felt bad for her when she found out that Diego is engaged to Zara, but like, I also somewhat felt bad for Diego because if I had to be engaged to Zara, definitely not at the beginning, after, when, oh my gosh, why can I never remember Diego's brother's name? Jamie. After, when Jamie told Christina what was going on, that is when I started feeling bad for Diego, because imagine, just to hide your family secret, you have to be engaged to an absolute raging her. Yeah. Yikes. Mark, I just enjoyed Mark throughout the book. There wasn't really much that I could say about Mark. I'm very happy that he got to see his sister closer to the end and around the end of the book. Oof. That's all I'm gonna say for right now. Who else? Diana, very pleasantly surprised because I was not expecting that plot twist with Diana, but I'm not mad at it. I'm very, very surprised to see the very small bit of representation. Love that. Who else? Also, very much was interested, like, the scenes with Christina, Mark, and Kieran, and the scenes with Diana and Gwen were the two best scenes in the book, okay? Those are the ones that I was focused on because, again, I really could not care less about whatever was going on with Emma and Julian. But, ooh, and also the scenes with Kit, Livy, and Ty. Those are what got me through it. Okay, those are what got me through it. And the fighting scenes with Emma, but you know, yeah. Diana, love that. Love that with Gwen. Love to see it. Magnus. I'm going to touch on Magnus, even though I'm kind of done with my whole character thing, and I'm going to go on to like my semi-rant about what's going on. But actually, Magnus's rant will come in with the whole rant about everything. For this rant section of the video, I'm going to refer to my notes because this is where I did most of my like main ranting and where I can pick. I'm going to start off with, I think this book was very interesting in the way that life somehow finds its way into art forms, and things that happen in real life happen in art. Because, you know, let's be honest, books are a figment of an author's imagination, and from this figment of Cassandra's imagination, I could definitely see some things. I could see some things, and I don't know. I felt very interesting reading this book, especially with the dynamic between the Blackthorns and how they view the consul and the consul's, not the consul, the cohort and the cohort's behavior. It was interesting to read. Let's leave it at that. I think that if you read it and see some similarities with life, you understand what I mean. I'm not gonna get into it in a video though, but if you know, you know. And if you know, let me know in the comments if you know what I know. Yeah. But let's get into my notes. Okay. So my first point on plot thoughts is, again, this is why people don't like y'all. The pier scene at the beginning when they're chasing the octopus type demon, and Emma, like, it's described as Emma and Julian, even though they're glamored, they're like elbowing people out the way and like stepping on people's foot without a care in the world. And I'm just like, you guys, this is why people don't like you. Like, I mean, technically the Blackthorn family and Emma are supposed to be the characters that we're like rooting for. They're the main characters. They're supposed to be like the good ones in this, but like I can understand how, yes, you may be against the core bad parts of the clave, but at the end of the day, you're still shadow hunters and you still have some of the things ingrained in you. Like me personally, I'm not gonna be stepping on people's feet and not caring about it, but moving along. Again, this is why people don't like y'all. Pair scene where they're carelessly elbowing people and stomping on their feet. Yeah. Second point, not Diego having a fiance, not his fiance being a biatch. Again, I really don't like Zara. It's one thing to be hateful with your chest. It's another thing to be hateful and a liar. Girl, you know you ain't did nothing to Malcolm. You know you didn't run him the fade you thought you did. Pun intended. Anyways, moving along. 100 pages in, and it's very hard to read the scene with the Centurions eating at the dinner table. Zara and some of her friends basically talking about starting a dictatorship with the Downworlders was wild. It's very clear that Shadowhunters like Zara and her father are the reason why Downworlders are so violently hesitant to trust or even feel comfortable with Shadowhunters in their space. And I find it so interesting that everybody, like, it's clear that there's an understanding that this is a thing that is happening. Like, there's clearly bad Shadowhunters out there, and they're the reason why Downworlders behave like this, but y'all are acting like you see and blind here and deaf don't know why the Downworlders don't like you this much. Like, you're wondering why you elicit this response in every single Downworlder space that you enter. You sit down and you're eating dinner, breaking bread with people who have these ideologies, like violent ideologies, to the point where Mark had to get up from the table and walk away. And you're not understanding why Downworlders may not want you in their space. Regardless of if they don't know that, yeah, you are for the cause of having Downworlders having their full rights and all of that. Like, they clearly have more interaction with the Downworlders, the Shadowhunters, like Zara. Because for some strange reason, when you have feelings like this, you don't usually avoid spaces that include the people that you have feelings like this. You know, whatever. We're gonna move along. We're gonna move along. Zara strikes me as the type of person who only respects people based on their last name. Like, the standing of your family is the only way to gain respect from her, and it's not a genuine respect, it's the type of respect you give someone who can assist you in moving up the ladder. I really dislike her because her blatant entitlement irritates me. It does. Also, if there's one thing I hate, it's someone who is put into a situation by their significant other and chooses to blame the other person for it instead of placing the blame where it belongs, on their significant other. I wrote this because that scene where like Zara strides in and then everybody's like meant to feel bad for her because clearly Diego did not tell her about Christina and he definitely didn't tell Christina about Zara, and we're meant to feel like, oh, these two women did not know that Diego was with both of them, like they didn't know that both of them had this relationship with this guy. So yeah, I felt bad for her. And then like right after with her behavior, not only with the stuff that she says about downworlders, but her like lording over the fact that Christina and Diego were somewhat in love, because clearly he must have told her, so she knows about the relationship. And just how she conducts herself after that was so gross to me. It was so icky because why would you do? That is such. Ooh. The stuff that I want to say on here, I know I can't say it because I know I'm not monetized yet, but like as soon as I get to the point where I'm monetized, they're gonna demonetize me as soon as they hear it. But my goodness, that was such dry crevice energy. That was stank genital behavior. Just I cannot. I hate when people do that because Christina's not the one that put you in this situation. Diego's the one that put you in this situation. But then I found out that like her and Diego don't really like each other like that. Well, I don't really know about her part, but clearly Diego don't like her like that. This is a marriage of convenience. This is arranged. So I don't know, but I just found it so gross. But moving along. Page 105, when Mark and Christina talk about already hateful people being emboldened by decisions made by our government, is so true. It is so true because that relates so much to real life. Anyways, moving along. Moving right along. The parallel between the characters we are getting to know genuinely believing that Shadowhunters help people and the glimpses of other Shadowhunters we've met who clearly have a strong dislike and bias towards downworlders, it's so interesting to observe. And I touched on that earlier, but yeah, it was such an interesting thing to read. It was just yikes. And it got so much worse at the end. At that meeting where they brought Annabelle and Kieran to, oh my gosh, the tension was palpable in this living room. Okay. When demons attacked the Institute and Diana told Zara to shut up and stop acting like her family didn't hide in Zurich during the Dark War. I cried. I could not, because now Miss Diana spilling the tea on you. Girl, shut up. And I was just like, Miss Ma'am, let's not behave like your family didn't fully hide in Zurich during the Dark War. Dearborn's who? Oh my gosh, I fell out. I could not. Ooh, on page 371, when kids had a question about not knowing how your not knowing how your enemies operated because you're forbidden from learning about them. So true. I think it was Kit who was saying, oh wow, almost opened it. Got 369. So here it was. Ty ignored this. We need to figure out how to access what's trapped in this crystal. This is when they found that crystal in Blackthorn Hall, the one that held the memories of somebody watching Annabelle being like questioned and tortured and stuff. So Ty ignored this. We need to figure out how to access what's trapped in this crystal, he said, as quickly as possible. It could help Julian and Emma. You don't know how to get into it? Kit asked. Ty shook his head, clearly disgruntled. It's not Shadowhunter magic. We don't learn other kinds. It's forbidden. This struck Kit as a stupid rule. How were you ever supposed to know how your enemies operated if you made it forbidden to learn about them? Actually, though, because why would you only teach them Shadowhunter magic when you send them out there to fight demons? Because that's what I thought this whole thing was. I thought they were just out there trying to fight demons to protect downworlders and mundanes alike from demons. I don't know when this got into a whole, oh, downworlders this, downworlders that. You know what, whatever. Child. But I agree. That is like basic fighting 101. How you gonna go in blind? How you just gonna send everybody in blind to go fight people who, you know, whatever. Moving along. For people who are constantly in danger, none of them know how to answer their phones. Honestly though, it was when Magnus portaled into the cottage and started up, like he came in hot. He was like, I have been calling y'all. I don't understand why y'all answering the phone. Then he saw Emma and Julian in their little entanglement and he's like, oh, that's probably why y'all not answering the phone. And I'm like, oh God, I thoroughly entertained. I love Magnus Bane. Every scene that he's in brings joy to my heart. Him and Will Harrendale are probably my two favorite characters throughout this entire thing. All of the series. Oh, Magnus is so great. Which brings me, actually, let me pause from the notes, which brings me into my rant about how for people who claim to like really, really love downworlders and stuff like that, I understand that Magnus holds a lot of power and like he holds a high standing. The High Warlock of New York, everybody knows who he is, downworlders, Shadowhunters alike. Everybody has like a decent respect for Magnus. He's been around for a very long time because I'm pretty sure he was also in, yeah, he's friends with Tessa. He was in the Infernal Devices. He's been around for a hot minute. And Magnus clearly has his limits and nobody's realizing, like everybody's just like, oh yeah, Magnus needs to do this, Magnus needs to do that. The man could barely make a portal because he's tired. He's been up with you guys, healing you guys, using his magic to defend you from the riders of Manan. All of this, doing all of this. Why was anybody surprised that he passed out? I'm not surprised that he passed out. The man has been saying that his magic is depleting. Like, he has bags under his eyes to the point where the bags are turning black. And it's not somebody like describing it. Julian is observing that Magnus is getting tireder because they're explaining, oh yeah, he had the bags. And then they go on to, oh, the bags seem like they're heavier. And then they go to, oh, the bags are like really deep and black now. Why is no one saying, oh yeah, Magnus, have a nap? Like, why are y'all surprised that the man fell out? I can't. They're stressing my baby out. I can't. On page 612, where I realized that Julian would destroy the bond for everyone just so that he would be able to be with her. Yes. 100%. Was very uncomfortable at that point. So let us move to 612. But Robert doesn't know about the curse, and he doesn't need to, said Julian. Just being in love breaks the law long before the curse is triggered, and the law says we'll have to be separated or have our marks stripped away. Stripped anyway. That's not good for the Clave. They're hurting for Shadowhunters, certainly ones as good as you. He'll want a solution that keeps you Nephilim pretty badly, and besides, we have leverage. What leverage? Julian drew in a long breath. We know how to cut the bond. We've been acting like we don't, but we do. Emma went rigid all over. Because we can't even consider the idea, she said. It's not something we could ever do. It still exists, Julian said. We still know about it. Her hand shot out and grabbed the front of his shirt. Her grip was incredibly strong. Julian, she said, it would be an unforgivable sin to use whatever magic it is the Seelie Queen was talking about. We wouldn't just be hurting Jace and Alec, Clary and Simon. All the people we don't know that we'd be harming, destroying this thing that's as fundamental to them as how you love me and I love you. They are not us, Julian said. This isn't just about you and me. This is about the children, about my family. Our family. Jules. The dismay in her eyes was stark. I've always known you would do anything for the kids. We've always said we both would. But when we talk about anything, we still mean there are things we wouldn't do. Don't you know that? Julian, you scared me. Child, how? Just that passage alone. How am I supposed to sit here and genuinely tell you guys that I should do? There are like a couple of scenes in this book where he's like scheming out loud, and it is so concerning. But moving along, there's the evidence right there. There's the receipts. So the next one we're going to go to is on page 660. When Kieran said, "Don't annoy me," I screamed. I screamed. This is when I knew that I messed with Kieran. That Kieran was hilarious. Oh my gosh, this was so funny. My goodness. So it was page 669. I just used the voice thing. I really need to stop doing that because it messes up my notes. But anyways, on page 669, when, like, after Magnus passes out and Gia and, oh God, Robert are in the room with Annabelle and Kieran, and they're discussing, no, Magnus is still awake at this point, and they're discussing that, you know, Annabelle wants Julian to like stay in the room. Robert's just like, no, you can't be in here. And and Kieran is just like Kieran turned away from the window. "We know Julian Blackthorne," he said to Gio. He sounded much more human to Julian than he had when they'd first met, as if his fairy accent was fading. "We don't know you." "By which you mean you and Annabelle," Gia said. Kieran made an expressive fairy gesture that seemed to encompass the room in general. "I'm here because I am the messenger of the Queen," he said. "Annabelle Blackthorne is here for her own reasons, and Magnus is here as he puts up with all of you because of Alec." I could not. I was dying. Anyways, let me continue. But do not think that makes it a good idea for you to order us around." Robert should have shut up and ate his food. "Annabelle is a shadow hunter," Robert began. "And I'm a prince of fairies," said Kieran. "Son of the king, prince of the frost court, keeper of the cold way, wild hunter, and sword of the host. Do not annoy me." I could not. I almost dropped the book laughing because I could just imagine Kieran being like, "Don't annoy me. Try me. I will walk out of here right now. Don't y'all need me to talk in this council meeting?" It was so funny. I could not. But anyway, my last note that I made, page 679, where Alec is roasting Zara, is probably one of my... Listen, between that and this right here, where Alec roasts Zara, and she deserved it. Don't think she didn't deserve it. This is after Magnus passes out now, and Kit goes to go get Alec, and they're in the room, and Alec is clearly concerned about his husband, who is definitely sick, like visibly sick, not feeling well. And Zara, who was not invited into this room, by the way, no invite, just vibes, walking up into the room wondering what's going on, like somebody crowned her ruler of everything, like she's the archangel herself. Anyways, moving along. Child, I don't want to read like the whole thing for you, but they are in like an argument about Zara asking if Magnus is sick, and Alec like just starts running off at the mouth and expecting nobody to say anything to her. Girl, oof, Alec checked her ass. Let's get into it. Alec rose to his feet, and in that moment was the famous Alec Lightwood Kit had heard about, the hero of past battles, the archer boy with deadly aim. This is what I want and what I've chosen, he said. How dare you tell me it's a tragedy? Magnus never pretended. He never tried to fool me into thinking it would be easy. But choosing Magnus is one of the easiest things I've ever done. We all have a lifetime, Zara, and none of us know how long or short it might be. Surely even you know that. I expected you to be rude and cruel, but I doubt you meant to sound stupid as well. She flushed. But if you die of old age and he lives forever, then he'll be there for Max, and that makes both of us happy, said Alec. And I will be a uniquely lucky person because there will be someone who always remembers me, who will always love me. Magnus won't always mourn, but until the end of time, he will remember me and love me. What makes you so sure? Said Zara, but there was an edge of uncertainty in her voice. Because he's 3,000 times the human being you'll ever be, said Alex. Now get out of here before I risk his life by waking him up so he could turn you into a garbage fire, something that would match your personality. Child, I could not. I fell out. I was like, absolutely, Alec, get her. Get her. I do not understand this girl and all of her audacity, because why would you even say that? That is so disrespectful. And then you have the nerve to call him rude, like you weren't just disrespecting his husband and his marriage. Ma'am. And then she gets even worse going along, because in scenes after that, she's there like walking in, interrupting the consul during a meeting, which makes me wonder why it is that nobody has checked her, because people keep talking to her, like the consul and the inquisitor, people of multiple ranks above her. Like, you're a centurion, ma'am. You're not like a seated member of the clave. You're not a head of an institute. You don't have this much power. Like, the power that you have is that of a centurion. You're smart. You're somewhat talented, and even all of that talent that you claim to have seems to be talent that you've stolen from other people. Like, you've stolen the glory and claimed achievements that other people have done. So I don't understand this bravery that I'm seeing, this running at the mouth that I'm seeing going on here. Don't get it. Very much don't understand that. But anywho, child, she irritated me. Her constantly interrupting the consul while she's talking and the inquisitor was... I could not. But anyways, let's get to the end of the book, shall we? Because I have very few thoughts, and I'm going to wrap this up because this is already a long video. So I ended this book, and as I read the last few pages, I'm like, Livy? Y'all, they done murked Livy at the end of this book. Everything just went up in flames, and it was very interesting to read. Robert no longer with us. Livia no longer with us. It was a mess. The end of this book was a mess, and I think it achieved exactly what it wanted to achieve, because I cannot wait to start that one. Like, I really, really want to go to sleep right now, but I might just read like a couple of pages out of the next one, Queen of Air and Darkness, because I am at the edge of my seat. I can't, like, what is gonna happen? Is Livy actually dead? Like, is she actually deceased? Because, like, oh my gosh, like, the emotions going through me, I can't. It was too much. And just thinking about, like, it was done so well, the emphasis of their close-knit family and all of their family bonds, and I was really getting to know Livy throughout this whole book, and the fact that she's like gone. Oh my god, I can't. It's too much for me. But I'm so excited to see what happens, because, like, why y'all had to take Robert away before he could even go to his daughter's funeral? That was so foul. Oh my, his daughter's wedding, sorry. Oh my gosh, I can't. I'm interested to see what happens. I will see y'all in the next one. If you haven't watched the Lady Midnight video, please feel free to go do so. I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.